Hi, this is Sandy. Welcome to my channel. I took a class recently that was from Scrapbook Cards in Today, and in the class that was taught by Jennifer McGuire, we used this A2 card die, cover plate card die, and so when you cut it out, it makes a card like this, and all these pieces fall out. So she showed us several different ways to make cards, and I'm going to show you 3 cards that I made with, and then a 4th one that she showed us the idea for that I haven't made yet, but I'm going to make it on camera. So this was one where we took this part that was die cut, and just instead of having it cover the whole background, we just put it down here on the bottom, and then took some of those pieces that had punched out for different ones that we die cut out of this, and popped them up, just glued several on there so that it gave it some dimension. And then there was a stamp set that had these little tiny stamps, and also a stencil set to color it in that we used on there. This was also Simply Grateful for You, was a stamp that would and die that was in the collection. This was another way of using that same A2 cover plate, and this one we put it on acetate and then filled in a couple of them with some printing on there, but then a couple of them we just put the little pieces that we had colored and die cut out. And then on the inside, you have a place that you can put whatever message you want to, and it's hidden when you have the card open. Those spots are hidden. And this is another piece of acetate in this. So that was another unique way to make a card. And then this was a very unique way to make a card, because we die cut out several of those cover plate pieces, and then we glued them together, and it ended up making the stand for your card so it could stand up somewhere. And then on the front we put this little card that you can put your message in and everything, and then, you know, some more stamped colored and die cut pieces on the front with some bling. So that was a very unique card that we made. And then she showed us how to make another card, and she said you could actually use it with any cover plate die, this idea that she gave us. So I thought I'd show you with this die, since this is the one I've got out. But to begin with, you start with the base like this, and I've got the measurements here. It's 5.5 inches tall, 4 3/4 inches wide, and then you score a 1/4 inch on either side and fold it in. And then you take a piece like this and you cut it right down the center, and then you glue it onto both sides so that you end up with this right here for a card. And then she showed us you take this, and this is 4 by 10.5 inches, and then you fold it in half so that you end up with a 4 by 5 1/4 inch card. And this then you glue on the inside so that you have a place to put a message and everything, and it'll be kind of the message will be hidden inside the card like this. So I'm going to glue that in. Then she said this was optional, but she suggested that we take a piece of vellum and another die cut piece, okay, and make it like a window. So I'm going to glue this piece of vellum onto this die cut piece. Putting some glue around the places that are going to be hidden. And then we're going to cut this in half the way we cut this, the one that I've already got on the card, in half, and glue it to the back. And with my trimmer here, there we go, we've got it in half. And then when you glue this onto this card, matching those up, then you end up with, you can still kind of see the card in the back, but it's kind of also blurred a little bit. So you could leave it so you could just see it like that, which is pretty too. Or use the vellum, and then you can, you get a glimpse of it, but it also blurs it a little bit, leaves kind of a surprise on the inside. So I'm going to stick this on, matching it up to the other one as much as I can. Well, that appears to hang over a little bit, so I am just going to trim that up a little bit with my scissors. I kind of think that if I make this card again, that I would do this part with the vellum before I glued it down onto the back of the card. I think that might be easier. Anyway, then this is just an image that I had from another class, and she had made one to go on there. I'm just using something that I had left over. Now then, she'd also shown that we could put an image on the inside that would be covered up by this, so that when you open it up, you see this message, but it's kind of a hidden surprise by putting it right there in the middle, then that image on the front of the card. And then when you open it up, you can write your message and everything, whatever you want on the inside. But she said you could take any cover plate die and do that. Just cut it down the middle and then put it onto a back like this to make a card. So I haven't tried to do that yet. I think I'll try that later. I don't know. This works out really well because you can just cut perfectly down the middle. I don't know if you had more spaces in there, if that would work very well or not. So I'll have to try that later. But anyway, so this is another idea for using this A2 cover plate die. And I love when I get different ideas of how to use it, because you invest a lot of money in dies, and it's kind of nice to be able to see different ways of using it. So these were 3 different, well actually 4 different ways of using that same cover plate die. This one with using the acetate, and we inked it, and using some of the little pieces that had popped out. And this was one that you could set up, which was a very different idea. And this was just using part of it across the bottom, which gives you a whole different look on the card. So thank you for watching, and I hope this has given you some ideas for how you can use a cover plate die in different ways on cards. Thank you for watching.